See, I know a lot of girls that are trying to compete with men, like in the cities, and I grew up with a lot of them that were like, I want to be the manager, I want to be the CEO, I want to be like, that's a sign that I've been successful in life. And they forewent having children for a really long time in order to do that.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Sproutcast. Thank you so much for all the views, the likes. Keep them coming. Now, you saw that clip and you kind of now know where I'm taking you, right? So I'm going to be breaking all this down, and I'm going to be breaking down what causes, whether it's male, female, anyone, what causes their lack of happiness in themselves, right? Happiness in life, the whole thing. Throughout the course of this video, you're going to see that. We're going to be watching this video because it kind of touches up on those little bases there. So we're going to go ahead and get straight into this video. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to Jebidiah Bila and Pearl. And check them out. And yeah, comment. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to see what's taking place with your mind. And we'll go ahead and do that. Okay? Here we go.
Anyways, yeah, I would say feminists. Girls that like are super into OnlyFans club, like that sort of thing, and whales. Number one is whales.
Do you know why they hate you? Like, do you? Because my perception, like the way I feel about it, is that they hate you because you're saying stuff. There's truth to it. If there wasn't truth to what you were saying, they wouldn't hate you. They would just be like, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
There's truth to it, and also it makes them reflect on their own choices. So now, if you're talking about how female promiscuity is not empowering, and they've been promiscuous, and they bought the story that was somehow empowering.
Okay, real quick, guys. Not everything someone says, if someone triggers someone's that's on their mind, doesn't mean that everything you're saying is truth. I'm not saying you don't, but people interpret words and things and associated attachments to their minds, and particularly emotional centers of their brain. So those things can be triggered by particular words that they interpret a particular way. You could tell someone, how are you doing today? They could be like, screw you, kiss my,
Pump your brakes,
so
kid. That man's a national treasure.
You have to comprehend what's on someone's mind as well, and not really take it that personally either, because you kind of can offend someone by being polite. You gotta know that, right? You've seen that. So moving on.
Shut her up.
See, and here's the thing. A lot of times we have this narrative like, oh, they bought the story when they're young, I don't really believe that. I think deep down on an innate level, we all know. Because what's the first thing that girls call each other when we're mad? You're a hoe. Why are you saying that if it's a good thing? I feel like sometimes that's a cop-out that women use. Well, they'll be like, oh, I bought into and I'm like, did you?
So you don't think that women bought the story? Then why did they do it if they didn't buy the story?
Cool. So this is actually pretty good, what they're kind of going over. I think you can kind of see Jebidiah Bila is pointing at her a little bit think on these things a little bit, Pearl, because there are variables here and factors, right? So, and there is always a certain level of conditioning to something. If you are training for something, you're conditioning yourself. If you're consenting and teaching yourself something to condition your brain so that you can perform something innately as well as for very other reasons, there's differences between you consenting and being cognizant, perceptive of it, and being, for lack of a better word, present with it, right? So, that kind of scenario is always in play. I think what Pearl's bringing up when she talks about, I think it's just a smash and grab. I'm just out there to have fun, shake a little, get a little, drop a little, take a little, drink a little, so it's kind of like that variable, that fun, that whatever, but that is also a conditioning. Okay, when you go to college, what do you expect? That's a thinking conditioning, right? You're going to college expecting specific things. When I turn this and that, right? When I turn 21, I can drink. I can now do these kinds of things. That's also a conditioning. So, there is always a level of conditioning to something, right? And sometimes people do lack cognizance. Conditioning essentially would mean you're not cognizant of what you're doing. That's really essentially a conditioning. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one.
But if they didn't buy the story,
they just wanted no consequences. And like, honestly, there really aren't a ton, like, even, I mean, you're a generation older, but I asked my mom, I'm like, do the hoes get married too? She said, yeah. So at the end of the day, there's really not a lot of consequences for any of it.
See, I think they have to have bought the story to an extent because there's too many of them that aren't comfortable being promiscuous. Like, they'll do it, but they go home, they're miserable. They cry about it. They call their friends. They're mad that guy. Yeah, they're mad the guy didn't call them back. They're expecting that guy to behave like a boyfriend when it was really clearly just a hookup. So they're so upset about it that they're then trying to map out with their friend on the phone, like, why doesn't he like me? Because it's like they bought the story that somehow they were going to be promiscuous and it was going to feel good and they were going to get what they wanted or something beneficial for them out of that situation. And they don't. They're all miserable. I think like there's a hesitance to point out that a lot of women who followed feminist advice, they're just so unhappy. They don't reflect, like, they're promiscuous but unhappy. They're on birth control, unhappy. They're climbing the corporate ladder, unhappy. Why no self-reflection in the process, do you think?
I just kind of have a different view on it. What's
your take?
I just think they liked the party life.
That's a good point. I think she makes a good point, right? And so that flows with what we're talking about right now. So it's kind of very key that you're staying parallel and flowing with what Jebidiah just said, so you can kind of put those together, right? Pancake the situation a little bit, just no IHOPs, no IHOPs over anything, okay? Just just pancake, okay? Look, there is a level of being led into a particular way or structure of something. So I think Jebidiah just pointed that out, but I do want to hear her point. But before we do hear that point, it's kind of leading us into, my picture memory's kicking in. Okay, so it's kind of leading us into what we want to really cover on this video. And I think this part right here is coming there. So just a second, make sure you guys watch my little video clip here. We'll be back in just a couple of seconds. Okay, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for watching that. Cool. Let's go ahead and straight back into the video. No fuss.
Life. I just think it was fun. You know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe how many girls do you really know that are really climbing the corporate ladder? I mean, you think you lived in New York, right?
I did, yeah.
Maybe you knew more of them, but I'm
lot.
like, most girls I know just have average jobs. And most girls in general have average jobs. They're not climbing anything.
See, I know a lot of girls that are trying to compete with men, like in the cities, and I grew up with a lot of them that were like, I want to be the manager, I want to be the CEO, I want to be like, that's a sign that I've been successful in life. And they forewent having children for a really long time in order to do that. So I think they exist, and they're,
this is just, I'm just saying by and large, the average salary is like $35,000 a year for women. So like by and large, women aren't climbing the corporate ladder. Like there are some, right? Maybe like 10, 15%, but I would say like by and large, it's more just like it was fun.
So they just want to have fun.
Yeah.
So you believe that modern women are deriving enjoyment from that pro-promiscuity structure. You believe they're not unhappy at their core?
I think they're unhappy, like, how do I put it? When the consequences happen. So like when they sleep with a bunch of people and then like everyone finds out and they're like, oh shit, now. But I think like to start, they're having fun. And then, life catches up to you. It's kind of like you eat 10 cheeseburgers. Every time you eat the cheeseburger, it's fun, you're happy, but then you're 300 pounds. Rebecca. So that's how I see it.
Yeah. See, I don't think they're having fun. I think they're programmed little robots. I think they're largely miserable, and I think they can't change because they've been told that that's what they should be.
Largely miserable. let me just hear this one.
What are you doing? It's crazy though. You look at like college girls coming out today, some of these body counts. How you coming out of college with 15, 20 people?
You're telling me.
I mean, did you study, girlfriend? What did you do? Like, I don't understand where that kind of time comes from. Honestly.
Oh my God. No. Oh my gosh. The girl on my show, the one who I was like, okay, I'm going to tell you this story. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place.
She may give the names away too.
Look at.
Cool. I'm cutting them off right here because that's hilarious. Okay. So that's pretty funny and right on point. So keep that in mind, guys. Okay. Right on point. What she said with the college girls, what we talked about before. Put those together.
Yeah, look at Amy, and she comes on my show, and we were talking a show about body count, right? How many bodies is too many bodies? Questions like that. I don't usually. The only time I ask people their body count is when I say, "Is body count important?" and they say no, and then I say, "Then what's your body count?" But the point isn't to get their body count. The point is to show it's important, right? Because otherwise, everyone would just be like, "This," you know. So, on this show, as a joke, I was like, "What's you guys' body count?" And I said, "Ha ha. You don't have to say it's okay." Like, I was kidding. She's all this pro-sex girl. So she's like, "Oh, I'll say it to get rid of the stigma." "Are you sure?" She says yes. "Okay, go ahead. Go ahead." This girl threatens to sue me because she said her body count on live.
That's ridiculous.
Why did you say it?
So litigious people. Oh my God. Sex positive. That's a word that just popped into my head. Do you watch any of this?
Cool. So she's talking about Bachelor recounts. She's kind of gone off on a tangent in this conversation. So I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to reel it back in. Kind of cut out a whole bunch of that stuff there in that conversation because that's more chit chat between the girls right now. You know, this is cool, but this is a different video. This is Sproutcast. So the point of this is, very simple. Okay, guys, I want you to really get it, and I might conclude it here, actually. Let's just do it naturally, right? Whether you're male or female, the cause in why someone is happy is a lot simpler. And I'm going to explain it to you. It's because you don't know yourself. Okay? And that's because you are conditioned to be someone else and become someone else your whole life and not be who you are and what is innate and then nurture that innate authentic you, right? And so when that lack of closure and lack of comprehension of yourself is lacking in your life, then you're always feeling empty in some way, right? You're always trying to become someone else. You're seeing who's wealthier, who's more successful, who's got more money, who's this and that, and you're always caught in this comparison trap of comparing yourselves to other people instead of working on yourself and finding out what is the authentic me, right? Not the imitative me, okay? Not the imitative things that we do, but the authentic person that the being yourself is happiness. Okay, you have to be able to walk around every day and be happy, smiling, talking to people every day. And it's not that you're not going to be sad and stuff like that, but I'm saying you're still an authentic you, right? You're still an authentic you. You're gonna go through things in life, be sad, this and that, even on occasions be depressed, but just don't go towards suicide. I got a video on that if you want to watch. I've already broken down mathematically and sequentially the causes of suicide, so make sure you watch that. It's just going to aid you if you're trying to comprehend these particular things. It's all connected, interconnected, however you want to point that out. But it's about being yourself, and you want to learn how to be yourself, then you have to subtract or eliminate be perceptive of yourself when you're trying to be someone else, right? If you're a woman, a female out there, and you're trying to be someone else, and trying to be a man, you're trying to be whatever, a trans van, I don't know, something. But the point is that you're not being yourself, and that's never gonna fulfill you, because it's always it's a petty type of thing. And it'll never fulfill you. It always makes you hungry, leaves you hungry for more, and you're always like limited in some way. And so you're always going to have some kind of conflict that's going to make you go back to the same place you were before, right? You were before you thought you were better in some way. So just learn to be yourself. And if you want me to cover that, want me to ever actually cover the comprehending those things and looking at those things and then learning your way through to being yourself, then subscribe, follow, watch this podcast. What do you think I'm doing here? I'm certainly not playing with games with you. I will break these things down for you. That's a guarantee. So make sure you subscribe, follow, and goal right now is limit the imitation and copying of others. I don't mean I mean in yourself, like just not imitate some famous person or somebody and try to pick up their characteristics and things like that, and try to like this and that, whatever, I got this style, whatever physicality that you're putting into those things, and psychologically just cancel those things out, cancel those things, and just come down to the root or the stem, and look at yourself, because you are special. You have some qualities and gifts and things you can find out about yourself, but you're shrouded in all these other things that are not, that lack authentic qualities of you, and they're just some picture or imitation of it, right? And so with that, I'm going to cut this short. That's the point, okay? That is, look at it deep and you start to think and you start to see and connect the dots. That is why you females and males, anyone out there, why you're trying to be someone else that you're not. Okay? See you guys.